Happy holidays, everybody. Yes, it is Wednesday. It is time for the Witches Movie Coven. Happy Yule, happy solstice, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Philip Bling Day. We've got it all here. We have got it all here, and we are so happy that you are with us. So jump in that chat room. Let us introduce ourselves. I am Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from Ghost Adventures, Bathroom Walls Across America, my books, this, that, or the other thing. Paraflix my school, but I'm more than anything thrilled to be here with you right now and Bling Phillip. Let's take this over to our very special guest today. We do not have Courtney, unfortunately, but she's fine. She's great. She just didn't want to be with us. No, she's
Oh, whoa, shots have been fired.
Too early for that.
too early for that. But no, welcome. You all know her and recognize Tabitha Meadows. Thank you. Welcome for joining us, Tabitha.
Hi, thank you. My name is Tabitha Meadows. I am a medium and psychic, and I am not an elf.
Very much, but you have a fabulous headpiece. All right, let's move it down to the pretty-haired one. Well, I could be any of you, but Jason.
I am Jason Mankey, 10-time Llewellyn author of Llewellyn's Little Book of Yule, and my other coven has started calling me the King of Yule because this is my favorite time of year. Yay!
Perfect. Congratulations. Richard-Lael.
Yes, and to quote Courtney Buckley, that's me. Yes, I am Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be 8. I am a psychic medium. I used to be a psychic small, but I gained some weight. I am known as the gentleman psychic, and that's with an A, gentleman. I don't just do gentleman. I mean, not for readings, but for other things. Thegentlemanpsychic.com. You know me from everywhere. I am really easy to find.
Thank you very much. And very extra elegant tonight.
Did I freeze? I think I froze.
No, you did not.
You're not frozen. And last and never least, the beautiful and elegant Heather Greene.
Hi, I'm Heather Greene. I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, a critical history of witches in American film and television. It's a definitive guide to witches in all things American Hollywood cinema and the shows you watch on television. I am also a journalist and yes, I didn't mind it is my shirt. So, and I am a journalist covering the cult, and I also am an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, and I work with wonderful authors like Jason and Patti.
Well, and we are here. This week's movie, we're going back. We're going classic. Miracle on 47th, 34th.
That's a different movie.
Fire me.
Miracle on 49th Street is a very different movie.
34th Street. It is from 1947. And hopefully, I had honestly never seen it until this week, and I saw it on my size TV. I know I'd never seen it. I know I was sheltered. I was very sheltered. And in case somebody else has not seen it yet, Richard-Lael, do you have an unbiased synopsis of this film?
I certainly do. A dyslexic child writes a letter to Santa and then summons Satan in the form of Jack Black. And then you find out that Satan really is Santa. Oh, movie. Let me reverse that. Will Ferrell plays an elf who goes to the modern world, this world, where he sees Santa who sits on a throne of lies. No, that's not it either. Oh, it's Citizen Kane.
No, Rosebud is not. No, not Rosebud.
Basically, Santa has come to New York, and he is in disguise as Kris Kringle, who is about 3 feet tall. And he rescues the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade from a drunk Santa. Imagine the horror of having a drunk man in a fake beard dressed as Santa Claus. Anyway, it turns out that he works at Macy's because Santa has nothing else to do. So he works at Macy's as a mall Santa. And then, of course, you find out through litigation that he, in fact, is Santa Claus. Yes, Virginia, there is a, whatever. That's my unbiased opinion. My
Wow.
analysis.
So much bah humbug in there.
Oh.
Jeez. Oh,
You, Richard-Lael. But just in case everybody did not get the entire feel of the movie from that, perhaps Heather has 5 things that we really do need to know about that film.
Yeah, this is getting us into an area of film that this is like my sweet spot. The old golden Hollywood is stuff I love, and so I have so many things we can talk about. But I'm going to give you some context and some basics. We'll talk about the title. We'll talk about the cast, of course, and a little bit of old New York City. And then the PCA, and I'll get to that in a minute. So there's some fun stuff here. So this movie was released in 1947. It is post-war Hollywood. It is not a witch film. There's magic in it because of Santa. I am not arguing whether Santa is a witch or not. We can have that later, Jason. I saw that reaction. So this is technically not a witch film. I didn't say there wasn't magic in it. It is grossed at this point about 46 billion. Its budget was 1.5 million, which was almost double of what movies cost at that point. And if you think about, inflation and numbers and stuff, that's a lot of money. It's 20th Century Fox, of course, which is now owned by Disney. So that's where you can watch it. It got best supporting actor. It got best screenplay. It was loved when it came out. Best original script as well. And this was one of the few films that was filmed at that time on location in New York City. Most films during the Hollywood time were shot on sets, and I can attest from personal experience, it is extremely expensive to shoot on location in New York City, and it is often cheaper to shoot on sets. And I know that from personal experience being a production coordinator in New York City. It was eventually made into other adaptations. You had one in 1994. You had one in 1955 on television. You had one in 1973. And of course, the illustrious Broadway show that was written by Meredith Willson of the Music Man fame. And I think that brings a new meaning to 76 Trombones when you think of that song from that original other musical and think about the parade here. I started laughing. I'm like, that could change that song entirely. But so that's a little bit about the movie we're talking about here. Now, originally, the producer did not want to make this film, didn't love it, didn't want to connect it to Christmas at all. It was released in the spring, and it had a bunch of other titles. Big Heart, My Heart Told Me, I believe, is the other one. It's Only Human was another one. And of course, it was eventually Christmas Miracle on 34th Street, dropping Christmas to just Miracle on 34th Street because they did not want the connection. They wanted it to be generic. Of course, it has been released since on television, or has been released in the theaters and on television every year since it was originally released in 1947. Every year this film has come out during the Christmas season. So the cast, I want to mention 3 people in the cast, and then we can move on. And I just got to find them. Of course, Edmund Gwenn, who is Santa Claus here. He is he passed in 1959. He started in Hollywood in 1916 at the very beginning. He was in Pride and Prejudice in 1940. Of course, he was in Them. I don't know if anybody knows what Them is, the old movie. It's the science fiction movie about giant ants. I have seen it, yes. He is the one who won Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, which I find funny because he was on screen probably more than anybody else. And then, of course, there's Natalie Wood. We have to mention her. She drowned in 1981 off the coast of Catalina Island in California. She was in A Rebel Without a Cause. She's most known for this film and also West Side Story, which, of course, was a Broadway award-winning musical adaptation, which I absolutely love. That's what I think of when I think of Natalie Wood. Then we have Maureen O'Hara, a classic of the golden era, very, very recognizable. She was in Quiet Man, How Green Was My Valley, The Parent Trap, and a number of films. She's very recognizable for this time. She died in 2015. Her last film was 2000. She actually did not want to do this film, and then was convinced to do it. It has since written that she loved it and loves the legacy that she has connected with this film. So that's the three people in the cast. Now I want to talk about Old New York. Now, coming from New York, I would love seeing the classic New York scenes there. I absolutely connect Christmas time with New York City myself. So this is really nice seeing these sets. The actual filming of the Macy's Day Parade was real. It was actually the 1946 Macy's Day Parade they show you there. And Santa Claus, our actor, was actually the Santa Claus on the in the parade in 1946. And they were ready and they shot the whole thing. It's pretty cool. They also talk a lot about Macy's and gimbals, and they show the ads from all these classic New York City based Bloomingdale's and everything. If you are from the metro New York City area, it's total nostalgia seeing all of that stuff. And the different department stores did have a contention with each other. They did battle. This was normal stuff. And Macy's did not approve of being in this film before it was done. So they did not give the approval for use of their name until after it was fully filmed and they watched it. And then they loved it. They gave the approval, and they actually let their employees off half a day to go watch it when it was first released. So Macy's eventually did love it. But that was a big risk to take, I think, to make a whole film centered around R.H. Macy, a powerhouse in New York City, and not have the approval to go forward. But let's talk about approval. So my last thing is the PCA. Now, I love these old films. One of the things I love about old Hollywood is getting into the censorship aspects of it. And this film, we look at this film and think, oh, this is so... It's so pure, it's so nice, it's so family friendly. Well, you know what? The PCA, the Production Code Administration, that was the censorship organization, did have some problems with this film, and they did go around the bend with them a few times getting things approved. And I have the production documents on it and the letters back and forth, and it's so super interesting. Some of the things they didn't like in the original script. Well, they were really concerned that the character that was putting out the reindeers in the beginning, and I'm quoting, should in no way suggest a pansy character. This is the censorship organization writing to the film producers. They also were concerned that the costumes were going to be too revealing, and that would definitely be a reason for withholding approval of your picture, including that parts of the body, intimate parts of the body, specifically the breasts of women, be fully covered at all times. They also were concerned that there was an absent husband. Apparently in the original script, she was not fully divorced yet. They were separated. So she was not to have a relationship with this other man until the divorce happened, et cetera, et cetera. They were concerned about the drinking, and that this was one of their biggest concerns, especially if they suggest it was whiskey. And actually the drinking scenes, the beginning that Richard-Lael mentioned, where he's drunk on the thing, were actually cut in some states. They were censored out of some of some states. Ohio was one of them, if I remember. They also didn't like the advertisement of Jergens lotion, because that is during the 1940s. There was lots of advertising suggesting Jergens lotion was a romantic product.
Holy crap.
They also did not like, yes, women will be properly covered. And there's a number of other things. And they did get some check marks to warn people about what's, and this is standard for the movies at the time. When a movie was done, they would approve it or not approve it, and then have this check mark about things that could be offensive to different regions and different airings. And it's actually, after you read something like this, you might want to take a shower, because some of the things on here are very disturbing, that people were warned against. But yes, so this did have to go through all of this process, just like every film did. And there were things in the beginning that they had to work out, and that resulted in the film we see today. Of course, none of this stuff would pass muster today. Jergens lotion advertisements would not cause a problem in 2024. So that is a little bit about old film and a little bit about this movie. I hope you enjoyed it. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Wow. Jergens lotion. Who knew? All right. Well, Richard-Lael.
I knew about Jergens, but I'm also single. So that's all I'll say on that subject.
Specifically, it says specifically Jergens lotion. I'm like, what? Some of the things in these documents are wild when you go back into these historical letters.
The mind these censors must have had, the dirty little minds they must have had.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just reporting on the facts.
Yeah. Yes. Hi everybody. Hi Robert. Hi Thomas. Hi Colin. Hi all you guys jumping in. Well, if this was, I thought I had seen it because it's one of those films that you just think you had to have seen. And I sat down and I have to let everybody in the coven know that I have entered modern age. I got the Roku on my television. My dumb television is now smart television, and I don't have to watch everything on my cell phone or my tiny iPad or my tiny thing. And I watched it on a full-size screen.
Woo!
Yeah, I could do that with all our films now. And I loved it. I like Heather. I love the old films. I love the costumes, their way of talking. I loved looking at the parade because I'm a parade person too. You know, not 47 New York, but and why I got involved in it. I got, for being old, I got involved. It's like I wanted to reprimand that woman on how she raised her child without any creativity. I've kind of out the entire time that Santa Claus was on trial. It's like, how could this be? I was like watching a TV crime drama or something. I actually got angsty, and I never get angsty, but I guess because it was Santa, and I guess it was just buying into this beautiful story. Overall, I just loved it, but I'm not used to getting angsty on a film. Because, yeah, that's all I have to say. It's like that. The mother's like, no, everything we fight against in motherhood. But she turned around and they lived happily ever after. And she believes in Santa Claus, so it's all good. Did anybody else get angsty?
What was that?
Didn't anybody else get angsty? No.
I did.
But I did love.
Go ahead, Richard-Lael.
I was going to say I didn't get angsty, but I loved the sort of Perry Mason moment at the end when the man at the post office is dealing with all of this mail, and then one comes up and it says Santa Claus, the courthouse, as opposed to Santa Claus, the North Pole. And I think he says something along the lines of, I get them from the North Pole. They go to the South Pole. They're all over. Just sometimes they're even directed at just Santa. But he's like, I got an idea. Let's get rid of all of this and send all of this mail to the courthouse. So they end up, of course, by getting rid of all of this mail. And the lawyer, who is, of course, the love interest, he says, well, these are federal employees, and mail is not permitted to be opened to by anyone other than to whom it is addressed. And if all of this is addressed to Santa Claus and it was delivered to Kris Kringle, then clearly this man is Santa according to the state. I thought that was kind of brilliant.
Yeah, me too. All the mail. And you saw it coming, and I said, oh, what is this?
Oh.
Ooh, modern love with Jergens.
Woo!
There you go.
It is sexy stuff. Wow.
Yes.
What? That's risque for the time.
Yeah.
Wow,
Well, it was
lovely.
it was in magazines, not necessarily. It couldn't be in the movies. PCA would not allow it.
Anyway, you were saying, Jason, that you got angsty about something?
I got angsty about this, but I was first exposed to this not as a movie. I had a teacher who read the novella when I was in 4th grade. When the movie was released, they did release a small, adaptation of it. And our teacher would read one chapter a day during December. And I remember, like, I was waiting for her to read this story because I was so invested in whether or not this man was Santa Claus. And I would just kind of like wait all day until she would start reading and like be tense because I loved this story. And I saw the movie just a few years after that. But first, I had it read to me. And if you are ever curious about the book, there are details in the book that are not in the movie, including the reindeer, which are kept in Central Park. And there's a little bit in the book where it says, and the next morning there were 8 exhausted reindeer in Central Park. And I was like, oh, I love it so much. So yes, I was tense, but I was also quite young.
Anybody else? Thoughts? Richard-Lael.
I think that Kris Kringle, in my mind, I think that he really was an escaped mental patient, and then there was mass psychosis. And I think that they all began to believe in him because he believed so well. And on that, I will tell you a story of how that can actually work. This is not about Christmas, but about my other favorite holiday, which is Halloween, because I don't actually love Christmas. Anyway, years ago, I was living in San Francisco, and San Francisco is expensive, and I was young, and I didn't have things in a row, and I was trying to figure out what I was doing. And payday was Friday, Halloween was Thursday. I think I had 6 cents before I was able to, before payday, that was it. And I was like, well, I can't even go out, so I couldn't pay a cover. And then I got home, and there was a $60 check waiting for me from something that I had done or something. And I thought, well, now I've gone, I didn't know that I was going anywhere. So I thought, well, I'll dress as the emperor's new clothes. So I got naked and I put on a cravat and I had little lacy underwear. Yes, I had it. Yes, I had it in my wardrobe, and heels and a powdered wig and a crown. And I walked down south of Market. I walked down into the Mission District in the rain, dressed as this naked king. And I got into the club. And all through the evening, Marie Antoinette, she says, "Why are you naked?" And I said, "You are an idiot. I should have you beheaded." And I even checked my invisible cloak. And then I won first prize of $600 for the best costume that year. And the next year I went back, I was doing a little bit better. I didn't even enter the costume contest. And the gentleman says to me, "You were so clever last year. You were so clever. And we didn't know if you were crazy and thought you were really dressed or if you were really a good actor." And I think that maybe this Kris Kringle, maybe he was crazy. Maybe he was a really good actor. Maybe he was just trying to escape something and everyone believed him. Maybe that's the case.
Or maybe he was Santa Claus.
Or maybe he was just trying to escape something.
Well, I just want to say from personal experience, I've experienced and gone out with you, Richard-Lael, in that most fabulous costume. We were somewhere, Massachusetts.
I
maybe?
have done it several times. Now that I know that it works so well, I've done it like 4 times. So yeah, it's kind of now just my go-to.
It's good. So thank you. So crazy. All right, Tabitha, talk to us.
Well, for me, we watch it every year. Sometimes we watch different versions of it as well. And for me, it's a reminder to use your imagination and to entertain your inner child, and don't become so grown that you forget how to have fun. And I think, in the beginning, when you find that the daughter doesn't even believe in Santa Claus or much of anything else. She's not even using her imagination. Kris Kringle has to get those wheels turning and have her tap into her. She is a child, but she's so grown already because of the things that her mom is teaching her. They're very good things. However, when you're forced to be grown up so fast at a young age, it doesn't end well when you become an adult. So yeah, don't forget to be a kid. Have fun out there, people.
Yeah. Thank you. Reindeers and all. Thank you. Jason, what do you think about all this?
So I love this movie, and I don't necessarily watch it every year, but it's in the rotation at least every couple of years. And I was watching it yesterday, and my wife had baked me Christmas cookies, just a couple of days before. So I was eating Christmas cookies, watching this movie. House is all decorated because Christmas throws up in my living room every year. And I was extremely happy and joyous, and you can see it on my face right now. But I got to the scene where the little girl who only speaks Dutch sits on Santa's lap, and that got me. I cried a little bit. I feel like I'm Courtney. I cried during the movie. This is for Courtney. But it's such a beautiful scene, because at that moment you see the little girl, and she's like, oh wow, maybe he is Santa Claus, and maybe there is something to this. And it's also so unexpected that he would speak Dutch, right? Of course, if you know Santa Claus lore, of course he would speak Dutch, but you're not ready for that. And it's just, I think, the best scene in the movie. And the little girl is so happy, and they actually really do speak Dutch in that scene. And the Kris Kringle says to her, "Hello, I'm glad you came by." And the little girl says, "Oh, you are Santa Claus." And he says, "But of course." And then she says, "I knew it. I knew you would understand the Dutch." And he says, "Naturally, tell me, what would you like to have from Santa Claus?" And she says, and this is beautiful, "Nothing. I have all kinds of things. I only want to stay with this lovely lady." And thinking that it is 1947, right after World War II, she could have lost her parents in a concentration camp or something terrible, and then come to the United States, which makes the scene even more beautiful and more poetic than it already is.
Thank you. Yeah, I cried a little too. Yeah.
Even Richard-Lael's heart grew 2 sizes. No, it didn't. It probably didn't.
I think Richard-Lael's frozen.
Yeah.
I think he is. He's frozen.
There it is. His heart unfroze. I saw him nod.
Yeah.
Heather, your thoughts?
Well, I'll jump in, and first, I just want to reiterate what Jason said: is the book was not was after the movie. It was written by the same person. Remember, this movie got Best Original Screenplay and Best Original Story. It would not have won Academy Awards if it had been based on a book. Those particular awards if it had been based on a book. So, yeah. So just to clarify that, and reiterate what Jason was saying about that. So my thoughts. Well, I love old Hollywood. I love everything to do with old Hollywood. Well, not everything to do with old Hollywood if we pull in some of the shenanigans, but I love the old movies, and I've watched this on and off. I don't have a regular rotation in my Christmas stuff. We just watch whatever feels good. Usually we will watch the Jug Band Christmas and a few of those, but this one comes up periodically. We watch this one, and I love it. I love I don't cry at the Dutch. I cry later on when she's telling her to believe in herself, when the mother finally snaps out of it and they're standing there and saying, just believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. Later, I shed a little tear. I love when the wife is drunk in the tub. She actually was apparently drunk in the tub, apparently for real, when they filmed that. And
Nice.
I laughed out loud, and she actually grabs the phone and he hands it back to her, and it's still upside down. I laugh out loud every single time, even though I know that's going to happen, because I think that's hysterical. It's so real the way it's done, because it apparently was real. So I love that. And I was reading about the mom thing you were talking about, Patti, about how she's so hard and she doesn't believe in imagination, and she's taught her kids these things. And you go back and forth as a parent about that. How because I personally had to inform my children that there was no Santa Claus at the age of 10, 11, 12, because they were getting so old and didn't want them to be made fun of. So I had to actually break the news. I did such a good job that they believed in it all the way up until they were in middle school practically. So it was time. And it's a catch-22, when you're dealing with that issue as a parent. But another perspective on her is that she's a lot of women in these films at this period of time had to be projected like this to show strength. And so she's very much a feminist character in that way. She's doing things. She's a divorced woman with a career, making a pain, all this various things. So there is a strong woman aspect to her that is remarkable and is notable. So you look at her and go, yeah, I don't like really how she's dealing with her parenting there, maybe, relax a little bit. But she's also stand out in terms for that period of time for women. And this was a time when women couldn't have bank accounts. They couldn't buy houses without a man. The only problem with is always in these golden Hollywood, and I was waiting for it. I like every single time, if you have a strong woman, especially one that's not attached to a man, who's a career woman, by the end of the film, there has to be a suggestion that she is going to get married and properly parent. And so the film wraps up like that in a subtle way, which is, it would have been nice that maybe this is Hollywood 1947. You're always going to have that romantic ending where the woman winds up becoming a wife. That's just the way it has to be. But it's subtle enough and light enough that you can enjoy it. The mom finally relaxes, and the little girl finds her dreams and her imagination, and hopefully her creativity. And she gets to go to the imagination, similar to the French nation, but this is the imagination. I don't know if you remember that. I love that. So I think this is a fun film. I think this is a soft and wonderful piece of Hollywood history for the Christmas era.
Fred is a terrible lawyer, though. She's definitely going to have to keep that job, right? I mean, she's going to be the breadwinner in the house. And and you mentioned like how she's a strong woman. There are scenes where she's talking to HR, like Macy himself and all of the other executives, and she's the only woman in the room.
She's not a secretary.
Right? Yeah, and she's not a secretary, but it's a pretty big thing, I think, for 1947 to show a professional woman in that capacity.
A divorced professional woman.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. I never knew my father.
I would
like an abandoned father.
I would like to say that I was glad that when I was a child, my parents told me that Santa Claus represents the spirit of Christmas, and that it is all about giving and kindness, and where he may have existed as a person a long time ago, it was not about the man Santa, but the spirit of Santa within us. And so even though as an adult I am a bah humbug, one of my delights as a child was putting on a Santa hat and a fake beard, and then I got to come in with a pillowcase full of presents to hand out. And then I'd have the fake beard on, and I would say, ho, 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 I'm Santa Claus. Not really, because it's not real, but ho, ho, ho. Yeah. You didn't know it was me because you thought I was Santa Claus.
Well, Richard-Lael, that's exactly what I told my kids once I had to pull the curtain back and say, hey, by the way, we've been lying to you for all these years. No, is that I told them that Santa Claus was real, but not in the way that they were thinking, that Santa Claus was the spirit of giving and love. And I did the whole thing exactly what your parents told. And that's how we got over through that hurdle and kept the magic of Christmas alive, kept the spirit of it and the joy and stuff without. And,
I will say, I am so very proud of my parents too, because where they said to me, we are the ones who got you gifts because we love you. But there are other children who do believe that Santa Claus is real, and it is not your place to tell them that he is not real, because he manifests in different ways. So other people may think it, and it's okay. It's not your business. So, I mean, I was like 4, and my parents would say those things. So,
Wow.
unlike other parents who would tell their children Santa Claus isn't real, then they would leave it at that point out, and really devastates all of these other children who firmly believe in the magic of Christmas and of Santa Claus as a whole. So my parents were pretty clever in that one. They were pretty clever.
That is very
That was that
I
is good.
feel like this movie really encapsulates what Santa Claus should be in so many ways. To me, Santa Claus is real. As somebody who believes in deities, why isn't Santa Claus like a deity, right? And he makes people nicer to each other. That energy brings us closer together. Whether or not that energy, that figure Santa Claus brings kids presents is immaterial, he makes us better through his example. And I feel like Miracle on 34th Street excellently illustrates that idea.
That's true.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't
mean,
remember. Go on.
Sorry, my computer. I love the spirit of giving. The dislike is that he only brings good toys to wealthy families. He does not bring anything. Sometimes he doesn't bring anything to poor families. So it's capitalism at its worst, and that's the part I don't like. But the spirit of giving, I do enjoy. And even, my parents were born in the Great Depression. My father was 1930, my mother was 1939. And so they got oranges, which in the 30s in December it was a rare thing to get an orange, and they were happy with that. And so that they wanted to instill that same, it's okay to give. It's not about the cost. It's not about the money. Don't be greedy. It's about giving something. And when someone gives you something, accept it, say thank you. That's all you have to say. Even if you're disappointed, even if you don't like it, say thank you.
Lovely parenting.
That's beautiful.
I'm just sitting here going, I don't remember when I stopped believing in Santa Claus. Is that a moment we're supposed to remember?
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I remember my kids, because that was probably more traumatic for me than them. But I don't remember when I did.
Yeah, me neither. It's just kind of one of those. I mean, I vaguely remember like questioning things a little bit, but I don't remember that turnover. So
I think the what Richard-Lael and Jason said was really important about this film is that the message that this film has, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's lasted, is so important, and it's so needed now. It was needed every decade, because this is not the problem. We're looking at 1947. Our country was financially booming after the war, which bolstered our entire economy. And here we're seeing him reiterating this sadness about a culture that's become so commercial around something that's just so beautiful and universal, giving and kindness and all these things. And we're seeing this reflected in 1947, and it's a message that we need to hear now. It's a message that you hear in Christmas Carol. Even, Bob Cratchit and his poor family and being a miser and all that. You hear this message around Christmas, independent of its religiosity, throughout these Christmas stories, one after the other. This one does it really nicely without any religion, really, just sort of the commercial cultural ideas of Christmas, but you see it in so many different movies where Christmas is not about, the buying and the commercialism. It's about who we spend time with and who we give gifts to and who we give our hearts to and break bread with, etc. So I think that's a message for the ages, really, that comes out of this film.
And on that topic, I would like to say, I love you all so very much. And even though I am notoriously a humbug. The spirit of the season does make me smile, and especially when I see you, and I love you all so much. I am so grateful that you are the highlight of my week.
Aw.
I would suggest new hobbies if that's the case, but
Well, I
will.
do have
I
Jurgen.
will take that compliment and lock it away because I love it. I love it too.
My new hobbies are Jurgens.
The new hobby.
just
will,
you and I, all in Chicago.
I
Jergens.
will never get Jergens the same again. I
Oh,
got Jergens lotion.
I know what I'm putting in my wife's stocking. Jergens.
That's spooky. Well, I don't know. Anybody have any quotes on this? We have no Courtney. Is anybody being Courtney tonight?
Oh, of course I'm ready for this movie.
Yay!
You know, this, like, Susan, a little girl, I believe, it's silly, but I believe. And, you know, to me, that really encapsulates faith in a lot of ways. And that's a theme throughout the movie, and there's other quotes about it. Faith is believing things when common sense tells you not to. Don't you see? It's not just Chris that's on trial. It's everything he stands for. It's kindness and joy and love and all the other intangibles. Doris, the mother. Susan, I speak French, but that doesn't make me Joan of Arc, which is a really good line when they're talking about, you know, whether or not this man is actually Santa Claus. And then Fred, the worst lawyer in the world. All my life I've wondered something, and now's my chance to find out. I'm going to find the answer to a question that's puzzled the world for centuries. Does Santa Claus sleep with his whiskers outside or in? Kris Kringle. Always sleep with them out. Cold air makes them grow. And then, of course, Kris Kringle. Christmas isn't just a day. It's a frame of mind. And that's what's been changing. That's why I'm glad I'm here. Maybe I can do something about it. And the district attorney, who, by the way, is a Republican, what is your name? Kris Kringle says, Kris Kringle. District attorney, where do you live? Kris Kringle. That's what this hearing will decide. That was a really good joke. Funny part of the movie. Yeah. And then Doris at the end. I was wrong when I told you that, Susie, that Kris Kringle wasn't Santa Claus. You must believe in Mr. Kringle and keep right on doing it. You must have faith in him. And those are the little messages that I love so much throughout this film. I'm sorry I also didn't have like a Courtney outfit tonight to wear.
Yeah.
It was very last minute. It wasn't like I was ready when I was Heather. I was not ready when I was Courtney.
Well, couldn't you, Jason, couldn't you maybe pull the back of your shirt over your head or something? Like a hoodie?
You know, I thought about wearing a hat because when the show started, Courtney wore a hat a lot, but she's been wearing her hair down lately, you know? So
She has been wearing her hair down.
I thought it might be lost, so I didn't know. And I sent her the Killing Tree hat. So I was so sad that she wasn't on the show because I thought she'd wear
That's
it
so
tonight.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the next show. The Republican thing. At the time, Truman was president, and he was a Democrat, and so that wasn't lost on the audiences at the time. There was a little political notion there.
Oh, that's good. Well, thank you. Those were beautiful quotes. Thank you very, very much. Now, staying with you, Jason, do you happen to have a Mankey movie minute moment?
I do. I feel like I'm talking too much now.
Well, you're not.
Not at all.
Right,
We love it. Love it. Love it.
Unless I'm being too mean to Wicked. You know, that's it. I had nightmares this week. All right. Miracle on 34th Street, the movie that dares to ask the most important question of 1947. Could Santa Claus be real? Stop. Meet Kris Kringle, the man who would be Santa Claus, and a resident of an old folks' home just outside of New York City. Stop. There's no North Pole in this film, no elves making toys, only a retirement community in need of an X-ray machine. And if Chris really is Santa Claus, clearly he's putting his fellow old folks to work making toys and scouting real estate. Stop. And then there's Kris Kringle's boss, Doris Walker, who spends all year planning the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and hiring Santa Clauses. Stop. Walker is a woman who abhors using her imagination, the perfect person to plan the flight of fancy that is a parade. Stop. Little known fact, Walker's little brother would grow up to be Walker, Texas Ranger. Stop. Living next door to Doris Walker is sad sack lawyer Fred Gailey. Gailey spends most of his time with his only friend, Susan Walker, Doris's daughter. Stop. Later, Gailey takes in a roommate, Chris Kringle, because Gailey, of course, has 2 twin beds set up in his bedroom. That's weird. Stop. Susan Walker, Doris's daughter, and Fred's only friend, a completely reasonable 10-year-old girl. Stop. When asking Chris Kringle for a Christmas present, she doesn't hesitate to ask for an entire house, and then becomes petulant when there's not a house under the tree at the old folks' home. Stop. America. Stop. Watch Fred and Susan fall in love, argue, and then fall in love again over the course of 4 agonizing weeks. Stop. And on Christmas Eve, Fred Gailey proves in a court of law that Chris Kringle is indeed Santa Claus and takes all the credit for a victory he did not deserve or orchestrate. Stop. All the credit in the world goes to the hardworking men and women of the New York City Post Office who do all the work. Stop. So many questions to ponder. Stop. Why would Santa Claus need a job, especially so close to Christmas? Stop. If Chris Kringle is indeed Santa Claus and his trial ended on the evening of Christmas Eve in New York City, did Santa simply not deliver presents to all of the children in the Southern Hemisphere and Europe? Stop. Is there a Mr. or Mrs. Claus? Stop. And what exactly was the miracle on 34th Street? Stop. Doris settling for Fred? Stop. William H. Macy being a less greedy capitalist? Stop. An old man helping a young girl find a house? Stop. Perhaps the true miracle is that we are debating these questions 75 years later. Final stop.
Beautiful. Thank you. Stop. That was
I just like to stop, because that's like from It's a Wonderful Life when they're always reading the telegrams and they're like, stop. My office instructed to advance you as much cash as you need. Stop. And to me, that's like in my head when I think of these movies from the 40s. So I'm sorry for saying stop 75 times.
No, you got the voice down. You got it. That's what they did. Thank you. All right. Well, it is time for us to go. One's up, one's down. Oh.
I didn't mind it.
You didn't mind it.
You didn't mind it.
What?
Hit roller up.
Toys is my wand.
Oh, but you have 2 of them.
I have 2 little haunted clown dolls from the 30s, I think, or 20s. I don't know. But they're antique toys, and I thought that was apropos.
Very
Patty,
cute.
your wand is a lip roller?
Yes. I have a cat. I have a cat. And a dog.
Those clown dolls were given by Santa Claus back in the 1930s. Stop. Now they're with Richard-Lael. Stop. Sorry. Oh my lord.
All right.
That is frightening.
Wait a second.
Those are spooky little things. I think you guys are moving.
I think we've met them before. They look familiar to me.
I don't.
Have they
met
visited
them.
me? I don't know. We have met them.
There are things I try to like suppress from this show. Like when I'm done, I just like, oh, I didn't see that, and then I try to wipe it from my memory. Usually it's the haunted dolls that you all insist on sharing.
Wait a minute, hang on. There's not one in arm's length. Otherwise, I grab one.
We got dolls. We got
them back up here. Oh, you can see them in the back. They are back there. Or back there.
We got
Black
dolls.
Phillip, take me away.
We got everybody down there. One's up, one's down. Ryan, official Ryan James, down. No,
We got it down?
We got a one down?
you're
Oh.
wow.
That's surprising.
So Robert Hicks, way up. One's up. Somebody loves me. Thank you. Even though you voted down, I love you too. It's the season of the season. It's the spirit of the season. So anyway, that's it. Now next week is going to be kind of a special week. Oh, we didn't show pillows. We didn't show T-shirts. It's not too late to get holiday gifts from mysterycontrol.com. You can get fabulous sayings and quotes, pillows of Richard-Lael, cloaks of Courtney's, and panties from me, all of the above. Mystery control down. And of course, Black Phillip Professional, because every household needs one. This is the Golden Bling Phillip right here. You can get bling, you can get Phillip, all at Mystery Control. And of course, an I Didn't Mind It t-shirt. And again, barcode right there. So, what do we want? No, next week is a special week. Next week is Christmas. In between them, we have Yule, we have with the winter solstice, Christmas Eve, Christmas, Hanukkah begins. And next Wednesday, we will not officially be here because we're busy. No, but we have a special treat for you. Our fabulous producer, Rob, my also fabulous producer for my witching hour, we did a very special witching hour, which we're going to play at this time next week. So you guys come anyway and see us be just slightly different, the same thing. No cursing, or was there? I'm not sure. We missed Courtney, wherever you are. And anybody have anything coming up they want to talk about? Who's invited to whose house for Christmas, New Year's?
It's all happening. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry,
Richard,
my computer lag. Go on, please.
You're okay. Well, we're doing everything here. We are actually taking a trip up into the mountains to see one of my children graduate. That's going to be happening over the next couple days. We come home just in time for solstice, and then we just it's the slow climb up the mountain to eating and cooking, and we have all the festivities here. It's also my father's 80th birthday on Friday, so we have a graduation, a birthday party, solstice, Hanukkah, and Christmas all in 5 days. So we're just going to be one big party rolling through here for the next, I don't know, week. And then I'm going to be sleeping the rest until I see you guys next live on January 1st, I guess, or Richard's birthday. So.
That's what I was going to say. My New Year's Eve birthday, which is, of course, my birthday, we will be having a slumber party. So if you are staying in, or if you're popping in to come in and say hello, you can meet me on all of the channels that we normally do. I'm going to be dressed for a slumber party. So if you are up for it, you can also wear your dressing gowns and your cravats, or however you sleep. No judgment. But we'll do that on New Year's Eve as well. Also, you can find me. I'm really easy to be found. I am the judge. You got it. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small. I will tell you the one thing that sets me apart from all of the psychics and mediums. They're all doom and gloom and love and light. I'm a happy medium. And with that, that's what I have. You can find everyone.
Thank you. A question from Robert. How about New Year's Day? Will we have a coven meeting on New Year's Day? Have we not decided that yet?
We have Death Becomes Her as the movie assigned for that day. So I think the plan was on, unless something has changed. It's time to look at Death Becomes Her.
Oh,
which is my birthday choice.
It's your birthday movie.
I could do it. Let's do it. Birthday movie. So yes, Robert, we're doing it. Yay.
Yes, Robert, there is a Santa Claus.
All right. Yeah, I'm home. I'm doing my orphan Christmas white elephant potluck thing that I'm doing forever. And
what's your favorite dish that you make for your potluck?
I make a ham.
You do the ham.
Once a year I do a ham for all my Jewish friends.
Oh no.
My Jewish friends are the first ones to go to the ham. I guess because they never have any.
Not all Jewish people are kosher with the ham. My family eats ham.
Yeah. So it's like the one thing I do with cooking, which is not really cooking, but it's a potluck because they don't let me in the kitchen for more than one thing. My husband is known for his guacamole and his clam dip. Oh. So we have ham, guacamole, and clam dip. And then everybody brings their other favorite dishes. So it's fun.
That's funny that you brought up ham, Patty. I almost wore the Velisca Axe Murder hoodie tonight that had the haunted ham on it.
Oh, that would have been brilliant. Yes, that's right. We've almost forgotten about Courtney's haunted ham.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Courtney had a haunted ham.
Oh yeah, Courtney had a haunted ham.
I hear that Courtney had a haunted ham.
I heard about this haunted ham.
It was the most haunted ham of them all.
See what happens when you don't show up, Courtney Buckley. Anyway, we have a couple minutes left. I don't know if we have anything else to talk about. We want to talk about Yule, salsa.
Jason, do you cook for Christmas like you do for Thanksgiving?
I do cook, but we cook differently. So many years ago, my father decided that we would have steaks for Christmas, so there would be less leftovers. And we used to cook the steaks on a charcoal grill. But as I've gotten older and have had to do it myself, I now cook tri-tip because you can cook it in the oven. And there's a lot of sports on that day, and I don't have to keep running back and forth outside and away from my TV while my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers are playing football. So it makes things a lot easier. But also, the next week is the best time of year. It's the Roman Saturnalia. It's Yule. It's a celebration of the winter solstice, humanity's oldest continually celebrated holiday for over 10,000 years now. It is also, of course, Christmas and Christmas Eve and Richard-Lael's birthday and New Year's Day and then Jason's birthday. It is absolutely the best time of year. So celebrate, do lots of things.
Yeah.
You can cook a ham, you can cook a steak. Just don't cook a haunted ham because that's a mistake.
No. And we have to add is Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and Christmas are all the exact same time this year.
I think that's awesome, actually.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Celebration.
So much.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
Celebrate. Should we sing Christmas carols now for the last?
Hark how the bells. Sweet
Only
bells,
ones that are
all
copyright free, right? Only public domain carols.
No. There are. I still pose that outside of Mariah Carey, and that is played 100,000 times between November and January. I still think there's only 10 Christmas songs.
No.
I like Wham.
I think they're all the same song, just slightly changed.
Can I tell you guys a funny little anecdote about Christmas carols? So years ago, I went to a dinner, a Christmas specific office dinner with maybe about 40 people. Everyone was a Baptist or a Methodist or a very religious Christian from down south. And if you've been down here, you know what those people are like. They were lovely people, but very religious, very into Christmas. They did the prayer before everyone ate. It went the whole thing, but they always had a game. And the game this particular year was to use clues to figure out 15 different Christmas carols. And the person that got the most won the $100 gift certificate to the restaurant. So the pagan with Jewish heritage won.
Yay!
I got all of them and nobody came close. And I'm sitting here amongst all these people who have been to church, who have sung these, have gone caroling. I won. And I was so proud of myself. And I sang every single one on the way home. And I sang them all the way to the restaurant.
We would expect no less from you, Heather. No less.
I know. I was so proud of myself. And I'm still proud of myself all these years later. And Courtney. I could have sang each one too. That was what was even more brilliant. I'm like, you people.
Hi, Courtney. We love you, Courtney. We miss you.
Oh, Courtney's here.
You must have heard our name mentioned, us mentioning you.
Yeah, ears itching.
She was summoned by the haunted ham.
Yeah.
When I was a Christian, I'm going to tell you when I was a Christian, we went caroling to a retirement village, and we mixed Christmas carols with traditional hymns, and we were in the middle of we just chose one at random, and it was something about rock. Oh, it was Rock of Ages, and the first one is Rock of Ages, cleft for me, let me hide myself in thee. And then you get to the second verse, and it says, as I close my eyes in death. And we were in this room, and this woman was so sick.
Oh no. Oh
We were
no.
like, sorry. Merry Christmas anyway.
That feels like the perfect Richard-Lael bah humbug to go out on.
Good night and goodbye. Yeah. Well, it is time. We have our choice of cackling or ho-ho-hoing.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho ho ho. Bah humbug, Richard-Lael. Just do bah humbug.
Oh, I love
Here
it.
we go. Whatever you want to do. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
I don't mind hoeing.
Oh,
I don't mind
oh,
hoeing.
Oh, oh,
oh,
oh, Merry Christmas. Happy Yule. Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
This is